Phobos, let's ask you some
Hello,
questions.
Phobos.
Hello, Zachariah. What can I do for you?
Man, you just sound so different. That's amazing.
What really happened with your mother? I must say I didn't understand much. That stone? The police's arrival?
My mother was helping me as much as she could to carry out my mission. She would provide me with information, sometimes hide mutants on the run before they could leave the city. She was a wonderful woman, Zach, but someone turned her in. Fiorello heard and raced to get me out with your aid. Though how I yearned to save her, to get to the slums to warn her. But I knew I could not. You, though, could. The stone was a token of recognition. She knew what it meant. If she was turned in, she had to leave as soon as possible, and if she couldn't, the drawing was made with an ink made of jellyfish venom.
But why give her that poison?
I didn't want her to die, Zach. I loved my mother, but I knew what the ASC would do to her in their jail. If they caught her, she needed a way to avoid being tortured.
Fair enough, mate. I just want to back up a bit because, guys, come on. Personal space is something that I find endearing.
Hello, Phobos.
That's better.
Hello, Zachariah. What can I do for you?
Alright. So that's why your mother killed herself, right? I thought you were just trying to kill her because you hated her.
When did you discover that you were a mutant?
The first symptoms of mutation appeared when I was very young. I must say that I can't really remember very well. My mother noticed them, and she taught me how to hide the marks, even though I think that I didn't know what it meant. She was hoping to keep me close to her, but as soon as the first marks appeared on my face, they spotted me out right away. I will never forget my arrest, how violent they were toward my mother. I was just a kid. I was sent to one of the farms on the outskirts of town. That's where I learned what it meant to be a mutant.
This is really interesting that he's a mutant, but he's not a proper mutant. I assume that the mutants we come across with like man, mutant, brr, sort of that style, they are born like that, whereas he wasn't born like that. He was born a normal child and then somehow mutated afterwards, whether he's had a gene which activated or too much exposure to the sun. I feel like it's more of a dormant gene that activates in him, maybe, that we all have in us. Well, Technomancers are mutants as well, look at them. So yeah, it manifests itself in different ways, which is really interesting.
What's the Mutant Nation? You created it, right?
It is a little overblown, but I was one of its founders, among many others. Of course, other mutants were living outside the city as runaway slaves, hidden here and there, stealing whatever they could find in order to survive. A small community had settled in Noctis and benefited from the hospitality of the merchants, who allowed them to move around freely. However, we did not have any way to defend ourselves or plan a future. We were all spread out. A few of us decided to get together. We found a place, a very unique one, and we soon started doing it up, bringing in equipment and erecting houses. As for me, I especially wanted to free as many brothers and sisters as possible. So I went back to Ophir, and I realized that nobody cared about mutants, especially if they didn't look very smart. I began to help dozens of them escape. And our nation soon began to grow. There are a lot of us now, and I hope that all mutants will be able to live there someday.
What can you tell me about Ophir's mutant pen?
You saw for yourself. Violent slave drivers and harsh work conditions have reduced mutants to beasts, to the point where even some find themselves yearning to be petted. I do not hate humans, you know that, but when I think about that place, I feel outbursts of hatred. I would like to break the walls and see my brothers and sisters get out of that hell. Someday, I think that I'll do it. I'll destroy the pen.
That's interesting. So he's implying that they were demeaned so much that they became simple because they were treated like that.
What does Noctis represent for you?
It is the city of our allies. Without it, Mutant Valley would have probably never come into existence. even if some of them think the opposite. This town has welcomed and still welcomes many runaway mutants. Here they can free themselves from the servile state they were in. Noctis is somehow the freedom school for many of them. Of course, it remains a human city, and segregation is sometimes present even if it is not official. And I don't completely agree with Dandolo's decisions, but overall it is a place that I love that boasts of mixing everyone together, of bringing all philosophies into dialogue with each other, and of welcoming the hopeless.
God, this guy's smart.
What do you think of Amelia?
She's an interesting young and courageous woman, but abundance brainwashed her. As long as she hasn't completely cut ties with the corporation, she will remain wary of everything, of anything foreign. I think that she has some pity for us mutants. That's more generous than what humans usually give us, but we don't need pity. We are a new people, not a gang of monsters regretting who they were. Maybe she will come to realize this. She is not stupid, and when it comes down to it, she has a thirst for freedom despite all the brainwashing she went through.
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He is a hurt man. He hides his suffering under a cynical and detached attitude. But he lost way more than his arm, even if I do not know what it is. If you could help him heal his wounds and become what he ought to become, you will discover without a doubt that he is a very giving friend. And maybe he will be less bitter.
What do you think of Nisha?
She's an unusual woman, Zach. She was locked up, tortured when she was a child. She managed to get out of the situation, and despite what she went through, she went back to Ophir under a false identity. Believe me, you have to be strong to do that. She is the best possible spy. She helps us as much as she can by providing us with vital information on the slave transfers so that we can go free them. And I know that Dandolo respects her a lot. But watch out. She is far from being the sweet and smiling young woman you met in Ophir. She is brilliant, generous, and she can also be merciless.
Yeah, she definitely had me fooled the first time I met her.
What do you think of Scott?
He's a great scientist, most likely a very good doctor.
Is that it?
Something bothers me about him, Zachariah. No doubt he appreciates you a lot. I learned that he went through a hard time, but I have a feeling that his sweet eccentricity is hiding something. But I don't know what, therefore I won't say anything else.
Interesting. So he's suspicious towards him. Honestly, it could be, because this game has definitely thrown a few curveballs at us. Like, you I thought was simple, Scott I thought was... well, Andrew. Andrew I thought was just a normal angry guy. So we can have 2 out of 2 companions, right? Nisha is a specialist in the rogue style. She therefore only uses a dagger and pistol. Passive bonus, physical damage from daggers +2. Allied relationship bonus, trust plus locking. Ooh, +1. So how far, because that's been grayed out, right? So that looks like I need to be on better term with her. Andrew is somewhere else, so I don't want to set him just yet. Andrew is effective with the mace. That's all he is. Passive bonus. Oh, he's a Technomancer as well. That'll be interesting, actually. Charisma +1 in his relationship bonus, right? Phobos is a force of nature. When fighting, uses a 2-handed mace. Right. He has a shit ton of hit points as well. He can hold a hell of a lot. I forgot. I don't think there's a... well, there has to be some sort of a negative impact for having too much clutter then. Interesting. Exploration +1, right. Scott. Oh, look at that, he gets +2 to life regen. Scott prefers to avoid hand-to-hand combat. He uses pistol and heals the other teammates. He's kind of someone I want to get rid of, maybe. Amelia is a specialist in the Guardian style. She therefore only uses a mace and shield. Resistance disrupting +5, crafting +1 to relationship bonus. See, Scott I don't want. I'm thinking maybe Phobos, just to see what he's up to. And... I'd love to somehow upgrade his mace. Let's see if we can upgrade it. Thanks, buddy. Where'd the other person go to? Oh, there's Andrew there. Hey, Andrew.
Hey. Hey, back.
Just need a bit more space.
Hey, back. What should I know about the Caravanserai?
It's the heart of Noctis, the home of the Merchant Prince, and the place where all the merchants' important transactions happen. That's where they decide on the trajectory of the main cargo routes throughout the planet. Historically, it's also the first place out of the corporation's reach on Mars. I like the place a lot. It's very peaceful compared to other places, and the architecture is splendid. The Merchant Prince has a taste for luxury. I could have spent 10 years there. I bet I would smile a bit more than I do now.
What can you tell me about Noctis?
It's a free enclave in a world dominated by dictatorial corporations, created by merchants in order to facilitate the exchange of goods from everywhere. It's become a place that also welcomes refugees from all walks of life. I love this city. You can find anything you want. Mercenaries, preachers, craftsmen, all kinds of merchants, princes and thieves. And don't get me started on the extensive variety of artifacts from all around the planet. It's quite mind-numbing, but it's the place where everything is possible, far from the yoke imposed by corporations.
As a merchant, you must have traveled a lot. What amazing places have you visited?
Well, when I was a kid, I lived in Ophir, a place you probably know better than me. But with Marcello, the merchant to whom I belonged, we mostly traveled to Shadowlair. He knew a number of Technomancers, including renegades, and used to sell them equipment found by looters. It's an old Baroque city, with dirt-poor slums. As strange as it may sound, corporations' big cities all look the same in the end, beyond the few differences they flaunt.
The merchant that he belonged to. That's interesting. Let's compliment him.
Should have remembered you. Back when we were kids, the world just revolved around you.
Really? How so?
You ever even know the influence you had? How much the other kids tried to be you? How much I did?
The influence was just an illusion. I don't like remembering myself like that. Even if it's right. Feel like I was just another manipulator, though. Manipulating people to get what I wanted out of them. To let them get what they wanted out of me. All just a time I'd rather forget, honestly. If you don't mind.
Bow. Crap, we can ask him a lot of questions, but this is asking about our companions.
You've known Nisha for a while, haven't you?
Not that long. I've been on the road most of the time for the last few years, and I've run into her a couple times. I've been in Noctis for about a year now. She's a wonderful woman. Courageous, driven. She's ready to risk her life for the city. Personally, even though I love Noctis, I wouldn't do it. She's generous too. But she has her own wounds, like all of us. She's full of anger sometimes. I think she has a few scores to settle. You know that she's from Ophir too?
Yeah, I think it was mentioned.
What do you think of Amelia?
But sometimes the way she speaks would make caravan drivers blush. But she's a great girl. Brave, talented. Too bad about the way abundance brainwashed her.
What do you think of Scott?
Did you know I met him in Ophir? When I was a kid. He was my family's doctor, but I have a feeling he's gone completely crazy since then. He was already a little strange, but now he's completely nuts. That's too bad. He's a great scientist.
Do you know Phobos well?
Well, kind of. I've run into him several times, yes. He heads a wonderful fight. and I truly hope that he succeeds. The corporations have exploited and squeezed everybody way too much, mutants in particular. It's time for all this to stop. He's a great actor. I saw him play a simpleton with terrific aplomb, whereas he's one of the most intelligent men I know.
Damn straight he is. I'll score that later. Feel like we should actually do some other exploring. What's this? It's a long way down. And a pretty long way up too. What is our end goal here? Can we go up this? I don't think so. I think it looks like it's locked off to us. Oh.
Can't go through here.
Can't go through here. Gotta unlock it from the other way around. That's an interesting vessel. Or should I say vehicle? Very interesting indeed. Oh, hi Scott. Nope. Wait, let's see if we can do this guy's crafting for him. Disruption. And some critical and some more damage and upgrades. That's what I want to say. Tripping over my words like it's 1995, I tell ya. What's our goal here? Where? We're here, right? Preacher there for some reason. I see. The preacher's gonna want to chat to me about love life and the afterlife and tell me to go to the preacher's son. Where is my current quest? It's all over there. Yeah, I want to talk to this prince guy before we do anything else. I feel like that's a bold move. I was expecting him to open the big door, but then I saw the little one, I was like, nah, he's not going to do that, is he? And he did. He opened up the small door.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Do you have a moment?
No, side quest, please. Ooh, hello. We got time for loot though, that's for shizzle. Take everything. What is my encumbrance limit anyway? Da, 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 da. There it is. 550. That's pretty good. I think the prince is upstairs, maybe. That's my guess. Principal! Why is everything shiny woo? I think I need to see about reducing the glare or reflection or something.
Check the leading against me. Ah, and here comes the rare pearl, the diamond in the rough that my Nisha tells me about. Come, young man.
Zachariah Mancer. was a lieutenant in Abundance.
Then welcome to Noctis Labyrinthus, Zachariah Mancer, former lieutenant of Abundance. I am Dandolo, head of this fair city.
Legendary city of the merchants. Apparently less legend than I thought, or been told.
But hopefully as glorious as legends proclaim. Regardless, for all who come seeking asylum, it opens its arms to you and your companions. You are free to call it home. Like all who have come before you, you will honor our only request, that you make yourselves useful to our city. I'm sure your skills will place you in high demand. Noctis' first Technomancer. Exciting. You'll have all the help you need with Nisha and Lucky, who I believe you've met. We'll give you a room to get some rest. I hear your trip was quite eventful. There is something else. I would like to personally discuss my expectations of you. You hear? War between Abundance and Aurora's winding down. Aurora took Green Hope.
Just left Ophir a few hours ago and didn't hear anything about that.
That really surprise you? Your little censorship office probably hasn't decided what to do with the information yet. No. Don't look at me like that. You don't belong to Abundance anymore. The truce doesn't behoove us. During peace, the corporations become more suspicious of us and our business suffers. Our city could even be discovered, which would be catastrophic. In legend, it must remain.
What do you...
No, let me speak. Your welcome here comes at a price. I want you to attack an Aurora convoy. It's right up your alley.
And why would I do that?
I didn't finish. You will do it in Abundance uniforms, dissolving the truce. Do what you want with the soldiers, but let the civilians live. They need to be witnesses that will report back to Aurora.
So you keep the war going?
Precisely. And while you're at it, bring back the uniforms of the Aurora Technomancers you dispatch. I'm sure I'll find a use for them down the road. Another thing, much more trivial this time, I assure you. The rover you came in on, I'd like you to move it. Put it wherever you want, do whatever you want with it. Just make sure it's not in the way in the canyon. I just don't want Ophir to stumble over the machine and, as a result, find the road that leads here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Oh yes, one last thing. My spies gave me a little tidbit that might interest you. Right after your escape, the ASC arrested your Technomancer brothers. That's what you call them, right? From Ophir. Their fate's uncertain, but if I was you, I'd be worried for them. If you're worried enough to want to help them, maybe we can set up some sand sails to get you back.
And your help comes at what cost? Assuming it's not out of the kindness of your heart.
Don't be so bitter, Zachariah. Business is business, not personal. I just thought a few Technomancers on our side might be useful.
Interesting character. He wants us to keep the war going, which would end up killing people, but keeps them off his back. You're an interesting character indeed.
You want to attack a convoy to reignite a war? You know how many people die in those wars? How many are mutilated? Taken prisoner?
Not precisely, but I think I have a clear idea of the numbers, yeah. Every battle has its purpose, Zachariah Mancer. Abundance has fought Aurora for years for more power, out of idealism that their philosophies are more righteous than Aurora's. We don't just fight the corporations because of their damned ideals. What we do for our survival. For the survival of the misfits of Mars, the rejected, the poor, the outcasts of corporations. We fight for those who find a home with us, those I promised to protect. This mission worries you, and I get that. I do. Which is why I'm not asking you to attack your old brothers in arms, but rather just carry out the same attacks you did countless times before, under different command.
This guy is very, very bitter.
I don't know how I can move the rover. Pretty damaged.
I'm sure you can find a way to move it up here. Not sure sand sails can help, but maybe you can couple it to some ostriches. Maybe your explorer friend didn't tell you, but some corporations would start a war to own such a machine. I'd repair it if I were you. Hell, sell it if you don't think you'll ever need it. I'll be honest, though. Rovers offer freedom no other transportation does. Word is, they can even reach the North and South Poles. Just something to think about.
I really want that rover now.
How'd you find out about my brothers so quickly?
Well, besides the fact that your accident and eventful arrival slowed you down, my messenger's sand sails make up in speed what they lack in protection. And of course, the arrests of Abundance's most powerful strike forces were worthy of dispatching agents to keep an eye on the situation. You haven't even given a thought to how this disrupts the current balance of forces, have you?
You know why they were arrested?
The official statement is that they were suspected of treason. Victor's pretext, I'm sure. He's a man who hates anything not under his control. Was probably planning this for quite a while. He didn't get what he wanted going at it indirectly, so he just took it head on. Whatever hope you have for their lives, I'd start to come to terms. They're probably being tortured for their secrets as we speak. And as soon as they give them up, they'll be executed. If you care about them...
Shit, damn, man. But the problem is... that's a really dumb idea to arrest a powerful military force like that, because you're crippling your army quite severely. And you're in a bit of a war right now. Although there is a truce, but it's not going to last forever. And they still have Technomancers. Wow. I think we'll ask you about this stuff a bit later, buddy. That's a lot of information to try and take in. I noticed you girls on the sideline. Seems like you're having fun. Maybe I can join you later. You as well. Seems like this merchant prince lives quite the high life, doesn't he?